Well, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Paint Society Uncut. We're here live with Scorpion Paint. He's got a cool one today. Let's go ahead and check it out. What's up, Pedro?
What's up?
So pretty much what he had is a customer said there was some peeling paint. Took down most of the car with 180, fixed any problem areas, dents, scratches, things like that. We're going to show you how to condition the metal, get it to sealer, base, and clear, and get this thing back on the road. So pretty much all that Pedro is going to be using is some prep solvent on the metal to clean it up, and we'll let that flash for a good, I would say a good 10 minutes before we move on to the next stage. And these are just some rags, and they're pretty absorbent, I would say. And what you're going to do, Pedro, just kind of wipe it down, clean it up. You'll do this to the whole entire car. And this is important because we want to get all that dirt, any contaminants off of the metal, so when we go to seal it, we don't have any fish eyes or anything of that nature. Now, once he's got that all done, these are pretty much self-etching wipes. They take the place of having to epoxy, having to use etching primer. Pretty much it creates a corrosion-free surface. So when he takes the wipe, he's just pretty much gonna wipe it on, and that's gonna protect the metal. It's a pretty good trick to use these. You can even use them on little burn throughs that you might have, but even on something just as big as this, man, they are pretty cool. Something I didn't know about. So pretty much this is flashing. How long you let this flash for?
Like 5 minutes.
5 minutes, and then it's good to go.
Yep.
You can see it kind of like changes the finish a little bit, right? That's super cool. All right, so this is a system for sealer. Sealer is pretty much a thinned out primer that you don't have to sand. We're gonna be using white, obviously, but you can use a whole bunch of different toners within color build to get the desired color that you need. Pedro will go ahead and mix up a good amount. So we got roughly 50 ounces here. Pedro's gonna put it into 2 28-ounce PPS cups. You don't really wanna stop with this, that's why he's filling up 2. That way we can keep that wet edge going. Now the reason why you don't need primer in this situation is because sealer takes the place of primer, okay? So since we're not gonna be doing any body repairs or anything, the primer is a little bit more higher build, right? And the primer is gonna go over your body filler. For instance, in this area, Pedro's got body filler under here, and he needed to prime over it and sand it smooth. Here, the metal is already conditioned to accept a sealer, right? He has it sanded, I think, up to around 320. So the sealer will lay straight over this without any issues. And then once the sealer flashes, a term we use for drying, then you can put your base right over it. Now, metal is a lot more forgiving than plastic is. You wouldn't be able to do this with plastic. You can only really do this with metal or aluminum. Pedro, you are an attractive man. Because look at you. First off, you're tall, and you look a lot better in that suit than I do.
Is that right?
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get the sealing. We already cleaned it off. We let this flash for a good half hour. Guys, we got the rear window out and the front window. That way we can get sealer all around those edges. We're gonna go with 1 or 2 coats. 2 coats.
I will start first with all the edges.
So you're
They are the hard part to get in.
Okay.
And then we go.
So if you didn't hear, it's gonna go on the edges first,
Yeah.
and then I'll get the whole thing done. Let's roll. And after that second coat, this is what it should look like. See how it's all nice and uniform? We're not only gonna be saving on our base coat, right? So I'll only need about 2 coats of base. Can you imagine having to primer this whole entire thing and sand it all down? That's one of the benefits of sealer. I think a lot of guys don't understand the difference between sealer and primer. Some guys are old school. They just wanna primer it. Some guys are a little bit more open and understand the benefits of sealer. You don't always need it, but depending on the situation, it can really, really help you out and get you to the point where you need. Let's go ahead and let this flash. I wanna say for a good 25, 30 minutes. Let's say it has some roughness or it has a little dirt here and there. You can sand it in sealer, but I would prefer that you put some base coat on it first, see what the base coat looks like. The base coat sometimes can smooth it over, especially on white. If it still looks rough, then give it like a 800 grit scratch, smooth it out, and then you can continue with your base coat. So this is 077. This actually is a pearl. This is the base coat. You can see that Pedro's working all the toner on the side and make sure it's all mixed up. You went ahead with another about 50 ounces, huh? Yeah.
Well, actually I mix 60.
60, okay.
Yeah. I want to be sure that everything we cover and we have enough paint.
So slow or very slow?
This is
Well, extra slow. Okay, so extra slow means that it's gonna smooth out really, really good. I did find when I'm sometimes using extra slow, like maybe on metallics, it doesn't cover as quickly as slow. Maybe because it seems like a little bit more watery.
Maybe.
Yeah, but for this, when we put it on the whole car, it's gonna go down super smooth. I only think you're gonna need about maybe 2 coats. It's already white. And then we'll tackle it with the pearl. You're using your DeVilbiss Techna Copper Pro Light. I said copper. Techna Pro Light, and this is the Vigilante.
Vigilante, yeah.
This is nice. This is nice. Although it looks really good, it doesn't mean if you get it that you're gonna be able to spray really, really good. You gotta have how many years of experience?
I already lost mine.
25, 30?
Maybe.
Who knows? I think you got more years of experience than I am old. And the way that we're gonna spray the base is we're gonna go wet on wet, back to back. He's gonna spray the first coat. By the time he comes back around, it's gonna be dry enough. He's gonna hit up the second coat right away. So the key to having a smooth paint job is laying down that base coat smooth. If you don't lay down that base coat nice and wet and smooth, it's gonna dry gritty. And we can tell just by touching the paper, okay, that it's gonna be nice and smooth for our pearl. Our pearl's gonna follow now. It almost has like a little bit of a shine. Do you see that? Especially on camera, okay? So when the pearl hits this, it's gonna go on nice and smooth. And then we'll go to the clear coat. And once again, we've got 2 containers, 28 ounces filled, ready to go. With pearl, you know, when you're spraying pearl, guys, it's not as hard as it looks. It's just a very translucent color. Just keep it nice and even. I want to show you something real quick. Now, I just grabbed the gun out of Pedro's toolbox. You can tell an experienced painter by an inexperienced painter just by the way he moves, right? So I notice, like myself and Pedro, that we move similar to a robot. Okay, we're very, very, very even. And this is going to put down the paint nice and smooth, okay, without any sort of stripes. Now, an inexperienced painter, the first thing I always notice about them is they'll take the gun and they'll go like this. Okay, they'll move in kind of like a half circle and they go psh, 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 psh. And all that's doing is creating a whole bunch of extra dry spray on either end and creating just a little bit of a wet spot in the middle, okay? I think it's because you're scared. Don't spray scared. Spray even, nice and even, okay? What's the worst that can happen? You sand it down and you repaint it. It's just paint. Let's let this dry for a good 30 minutes. Let it completely solvent flash, and then we're ready for clear. And we're in for the clear now. Pedro is a solid guy. This is a 5500. It works for him.
It's good.
It's good. And I see you're using slow.
Everything.
Always slow.
Always.
Well, we are in sunny South Florida, and I could tell you, even if you are in an environment that's even cooler, slow is the way to go. Even extra slow reducer. It's gonna help it just loosen up and flow out. You're not gonna get as much dry areas. Another 50 coats or so, 50 ounces, 50 coats. I love uncut because I don't have to go back and edit it out. We're gonna put down 2 coats.
2 coats.
We're gonna bake it, and we're gonna see what it looks like.
Well, let's see.
How many cars do you think you've painted in your life?
I don't have any idea, bro. A lot.
A lot, okay. Let's get in there and let's start clearing. Yeah, we're ready to clear. So once again, smooth sealer, smooth base, smooth mid. It's gonna make for a smooth clear. Will it come out perfect? No, you're gonna have to nib out some stuff here and there, but you're gonna have a much cleaner, better job. There's the man. Let's get started. First coat, you can see completely empty, 28 ounces. Now, if this is your first time watching, I tell you guys all the time, the video is gonna make it look amazing. First coat, it can be not perfect in some areas. It might be a touch dry. I wouldn't worry about slamming it on the first coat. Get the paint on. That's gonna create like a sticky surface for the second coat to lay on. I'm not talking about laying it dry, but get it on. Don't concern yourself about areas that don't look perfect. Promise you, the second coat we're gonna do right now, about 10 minutes later, is gonna look much better. Pedro, looking good.
Yep.
If you guys haven't subscribed to his channel, go ahead and subscribe. He's got a lot of cool work. I know we'll be down here again. We're gonna go ahead and unmask this thing, see what it looks like outside in the sun. I'm sure it looks great. Until the next one, Pedro.
Thank you, my friend.
And I'm reminding you guys, don't overthink it.
It's just paint.
It's just paint. Let's check it out.
Yeah.